What do we want to start off with? Do you want to?
So, do you want to make tell the world the name of this episode 0?
Yeah, episode 0. So the name, well, it'll be in the YouTube title presumably, but the name of this episode is what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, or what makes you stronger can sometimes kill you. We'll figure out which one exactly we're using. But that was kind of a thing that like my dad came to my attention with, and was kind of proposing that we talk about that for a little bit. And I think, as a general rule of thumb, that idiom makes sense, but I think a lot of people choose to interpret it as an absolute, and like any pain is good pain, and every hard experience is a necessarily useful experience. Like, if you wanted to expand it, in my opinion, if you wanted to expand it to its less catchy but more specific iteration, what doesn't kill you, when properly processed and internalized and the lessons are absorbed into your brain, can make you stronger. Because pain on its own also has the capacity to traumatize, right? To traumatize, to scar, to destroy. It doesn't. And if you learn the wrong things from pain, you end up just being a worse person overall. So I think in general, yes, but it depends a lot, obviously, on specifics. I don't know if you have anything to say about that, but
Well, so yeah, what I would add to that is there's a tendency in the world where fundamentally the humanity finds a principle that they found that it works, and then humans, including myself and you and everybody else, humans tend to push that principle as if it has no boundary, as if it has no stop.
absolutely.
And even before, because when you push it to an extreme, you push it until you find a natural stop by the humanity all of a sudden, or humans in general, end up suffering from a good principle. Instead of having to find those limits the hard way, because that would be the hard way when they start affecting you, you can actually predict that there is a stopping point, and that is typically found by what is called in the classical logic by the logics of the human mind. You can find the reciprocity, the reciprocal statement, and oftentimes, if not almost always, the reciprocal is also correct. So when people say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, the actual complete phrase from a logical perspective is what doesn't kill you always makes you stronger. And the reason you insert this word always is because in phrasing the reciprocal, you will find that always, the reciprocal of always, of the word always, is sometimes. Instead of always, you find that the reciprocal is sometimes.
From certain to uncertain outcome.
Right. So the reciprocal of the statement, what doesn't kill you always makes you stronger is what makes you stronger can sometimes kill you, which is also a valid statement. In if in history you find millions and millions of cases where things make you things that typically give you strength, sometimes they destroy you. Any medicine in the world taken in small amounts, the substance,
Everything is poison.
Right.
Everything on earth is
Right.
poison.
So even water, if you
Yes.
drink too much, you die of
Absolutely.
water poisoning. Any medicine in larger quantities will kill you, will destroy you. Funnier, or let's say not funnier, but definitely a more recent example of that is the Second World War and the Enigma project, where the Germans would always salute each other with Heil Hitler.
And that's how
then-
Alan Turing broke
then-
the cipher on the Enigma
And the
code.
salute of Heil Hitler was probably giving them strength because it was easy for them to recognize each other by this salute and thus form the group of the Nazis and give themselves a sense of belonging.
It created uniformity.
Signaling
and-
each other,
Yeah.
signaling each other they're part of the same pyramid scheme, the same pyramid of power.
Yeah.
But then Alan Turing found that exact statement, that exact salute, was the
That
key
was
to
the only
code.
consistent thing in all of their.
So
yeah.
they found the letters in Heil Hitler. So
Yeah.
so all of these things, and in coming to today's world, you can say, for example, the army of a country it gives you strength, obviously makes you stronger. But then if the army increases and increases and increases and increases,
Yeah.
at some point, that army that is supposed to make you stronger, defend you, can become an oppressive force. The Roman Empire, the Praetorians in the later stages of the
Yeah.
Western Roman Empire, the Praetorian Guard,
They killed, I think,
they
8 emperors.
killed, right? They
They
killed
ki-
a bunch
because
of emperors.
because every emperor, it was a custom that when an
right.
emperor came to power,
Right.
and that's why a lot of senators didn't even want to be emperor,
right.
because
It
they
was-
were like, well, now I have to answer to the Praetorian Guard who
Right.
can ice me whenever they
Right.
want.
And we say now the Praetorian Guard, but I'm pretty sure back in those days they knew exactly General X or the Commandant
Yeah.
Y, or just like today we know names like General Petraeus or Michael Flynn, or there's names. I'm not saying these are now the Praetorian Guard of today, but I'm just saying they know they used to know back then. They used to know the names of the generals and the commandants that were in charge of the Praetorian Guard, and they kind of slowly probably figured out, like, okay, so these guys are actually running the show. And that's how they ended up with all kinds of emperors that, some Caligula famously wanted to put in power his horse as a senator. And I'm, like people think of that as like, yeah, that he was crazy. I'm not sure if he was crazy. I'm pretty sure that he needed votes for something. And he said, well, I'm going to put my horse as a senator is going to count a vote.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put that vote in my favor.
He
or something,
he was probably crazy to some degree. This is a tangent, but
well, so
you can make that.
I've watched a documentary once, and somebody mentioned there was a historian that said, Caligula means sandals, means the sandals that are
Yeah.
that are the Roman soldiers used to wear
Right.
with the laces and whatnot. I think, and I think the reason this emperor was called Caligula in the writings in the history, I think after he was killed, because
He was
like
not.
in the movie Caligula, the one with the penthouse sponsorship,
Yeah.
they call him Caligula to his face. If you would have called Caligula to his face,
you would
have
have killed
died.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
He
it was like
his
a
name was
colloquialism.
Gaius Caesar. He was Gaius, I think, Caesar.
Caesar, yeah.
Okay. So his name Caligula would be today if you would call a president, let's say, Little Britches or Little Boots.
Yeah.
Hey, Little Boots. And I think the legend, or I don't know if it's an official story, but the legend is that when he was little, he was trying to be a soldier, and he put on little big boots or something, and they were too big, and somebody, hey, Little Boots, hey, Caligula.
Yeah.
And then they kept calling him that in behind the scenes because he was a part of the imperial family. So
Yeah.
it's, I guess, stock or whatever. It's
Whatever,
not
yeah.
necessarily important. But I'm just saying, like, going back, what makes you stronger can sometimes kill you. And that's whenever you find something that makes you stronger, you work out, you do all that, you can have a heart attack also if you work out too hard.
You can
So-
pull a muscle.
Pull a muscle.
You can injure yourself really badly.
Right.
And then that impedes your ability to work. And ultimately, in that exchange, you lose.
Right.
You lose efficiency because you tried too hard
Yeah.
to push yourself towards something that would kill you. And ultimately, like people who tear muscles, like there's so many videos online of people who do bicep curls, and
Right.
they tear, and then they lose that muscle. You have to rebuild it,
Right.
basically from scratch,
Yeah,
because it's gone. It's gone.
You need to regenerate. You
Reconstructive
need to,
surgeries. There's grafts. You have to it's
Even if
horrible.
Even if you sometimes you shred tendons. You can just break tendons, whatever. Okay, so I think we've made the point. Pretty
Well,
clear.
I mean, one last thing, and I think you can. I think that also leads to the last thing I wanted to add. That does also, I think, kind of like you were. The way you would see that, I think, today would be the degeneration of culture due to kind of the emphasis put, especially in the last 40 odd years, on fiscal success above all else. Because right now, that's what it's kind of a lot of success and a lot of pushing people towards being stronger involves you becoming an entrepreneur of some kind. And that's what I see from male oriented. I don't know about female. I don't know what female oriented success social media content looks like, but male success self-help social media content is oriented towards amassing wealth. It's oriented towards being physically stronger. The famous Jordan Peterson, you need to become a monster thing, which is such horse shit. But I mean,
yeah. Well, I think I understand a little bit about that, but it's not entirely horseshit. It's just, again, whenever you find something that works, you have to also figure out where where it stops working, and push it to the 80%. but don't go all the way to until it doesn't work anymore. You can be an intelligent human being and realize that there's also a stopping point somewhere, right?
Right.
So becoming a monster, learn how to become a monster, and then I think we talked about this a while back, and I haven't to his credit, I haven't seen him repeat that very often. I'm also not watching as much content from him, but
Yeah.
learn to be a monster means how exactly? Are you supposed to destroy some humans to?
Yeah. What does it mean? What do you
Right.
mean?
What do you mean? Learn how to be a monster. How are you gonna learn?
What is that?
You just destroy a bunch of people or destroy lives, and then what do you do with those that you've
You don't-
destroyed in the process of learning to be a monster? What are those people?
Well,
gonna
you're
do?
not supposed, because being a monster, by definition, you need to be unashamedly cruel. And that doesn't mean, everyone needs to make hard decisions at some point in their life. You need to make a choice that's like, this is going to hurt people, but in the consequentialist school of thought, this will be better in the overall. But that doesn't, you don't need to be this self-interested jackass. And also, I think that creates, kind of going back, it creates a degenerated culture that is not about producing. It's not about learning. Like today, I go to college, and my college is predominantly business majors. It's predominantly business and economics majors, and all of them, you ask any of them, they don't really care about producing anything. Even if they're economists, like I am, they don't talk about oh, well, I want to predict this so it can help this people and create solutions to. They care about fucking drop shipping and AI and how they can accrue wealth for themselves, and it creates a social consciousness around the idea of fuck you got mine.
Right. Yeah. And it goes back to I guess it's a good transition to the conversation about the
Sure.
Adam Smith
Yeah.
story, where you establish that business people don't need to have morals because their self-interest is going to somehow work into balancing the outcome in such a way that society benefits.
Yeah.
And so in Adam Smith's Wealth of Nations, the fundamental idea, I guess, in the beginning of the book is that we don't appeal to the morals and the kindness of the brewer, the baker, and the butcher,
Yeah.
because without them being kind, without them being, having spent too much time on morals, their greed and interest of self-interest in making money for themselves is going to result in the end into the community being provided with the best dinner, the best meal possible.
Mm-hmm.
And the story that I am trying to play out in my head is, again, if you only establish this direct statement that we say it works, well, it works, you know. If the brewer wants to make more money and the butcher wants to make more money and the baker wants to make more money, then the three of them are going to pull the community, let's say, each are going to pull with the same force in their direction. And this way, the forces in the end are going to balance out, and the community will be in the center of those forces being provided and being in equilibrium.
Which assumes a society of not, that's not describing a society of humans, that's describing a society of machines.
Well,
Because because like you point out, that tug of war only works as long as that balance at each force is pulling equally.
yeah, as long as those three forces are balanced perfectly,